Well, yes, indeed, we're focusing on the NLC strike. We're joined this morning by Francis Johnson, who is the president of PENGANSSAN. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, we did hear Labour there talking about those who are not with them or will be pretending. Let's get your thoughts primarily. What do you think of the strike? Is PENGANSSAN joining the strike?
Good morning, Nigerians. Well, for us in PENGANSSAN, we have been saying it. PENGANSSAN and the PEN, precisely. Prior to now, we've been saying it, that the sector needs to be deregulated. And what I was saying is because, let's look at it. But what we are against is import-driven deregulation. And what we mean by that is this. Our refineries must be working at whatever level. And so that whatever you're also importing, you can also now be able to, whatever you're also importing, you can also be able to augment it with the local production of the refineries. And so, for PENGANSSAN to PENG, we met in Calabar, and at the Central Working Committee and the NEC and the Joint NEC, we also look at that. This is something we have been saying, and this is our sector. We must also make sure that we do what is right. But the communique we said was that government must meet with the critical stakeholders. Look at the price, look at the issue of minimum wage, look at the workability of the refineries, and look at the provision of infrastructures. So that Nigerians can also look at that, see there is commitment, there is seriousness from government, and that is where PENGANSSAN and the PEN, and that's our position.
So, at the moment, what your position is, have you seen the decision the government has carried out reflecting what your position is?
Well, for us, like I said, when you look at what government has done, we also aware that the meeting was held Wednesday before the day something was done. And what we also look at is that then I was in Calabar for my Central Working Committee, and the PEN president represented PENGANSSAN and the PEN. And he came that very day to also brief us of the position and what has also been agreed on. And that the issue of minimum wage, the issue of making sure infrastructures, and the issue of letting Nigerians see that, yes, this increase, arising for the past experiences, that whatever they have also increased, we also work together and make sure that this thing, with timelines, and can also make sure that Nigerians are also having less painful deregulation of the sector. In
other words, what has been done does not reflect what your communique put out.
Well, why there's a problem, because labor is divided. And I say that because when you look at NLC, TUC, PENGANSSAN is an affiliate of TUC. And when you look at NUPEN is an affiliate of NLC. But also now within NUPEN, within NLC, there's a division. There's the Ajero faction, and there's also the Wabba-led faction. And so, since labor has been divided, definitely government also look for a way to also capitalize on that. And that's the position we are today. And that is why the strike cannot also be coherent and can also not be united and cohesive. What the government has done is that the government also called for a meeting. Okay, we're going to set up a committee to look at, one, the issue of the minimum wage with timelines, constitute the negotiating council that look at the issue of minimum wage and see how they can also handle it. Then look at the timelines to make sure that refineries are working optimally at whatever capacity, so that the importation of food oils can also be, timelines. That's not going to be something open-ended. And so when you also have that, the pressure on foreign exchange will also be minimal. So, and that is where we are. And it was at that point that NLC, the two factions of NLC, could also not speak with one voice, and that led Nigerians to where we are today.
Let's go back to this stand of PENGANSSAN concerning the sector, which you did say you'd want to see a complete deregulation of that sector. Have you had meetings amongst yourselves? I'm talking about you, PENGANSSAN, and maybe Labour as well as NUPEN, to highlight some of your points just in case the others don't get to see the picture the way PENGANSSAN sees it.
Well, for PENGANSSAN and the PEN, even we're having critical challenges. Even right now, I'm talking with you, the IOC that have been with cash call of over $5 billion are also been saying that effective from June, they will not be guaranteed to be able to pay as member salary. And so, calling to meeting, the Central Working Committee met, even prior to now, that how do we move this industry forward? And for us, we have said ad initio early that there must be a state of emergency must declare in the sector. So we also sit down and look at how we can also make sure that challenges in the sector are also well tailored and fashioned, so that, because there are so many challenges in the sector. And for now, like I'm speaking with you now, the mainstay of Nigerian economy is oil and gas. And so, coming to our meeting, we have met and we have been meeting severally, PENGANSSAN and the PENG. And even, I was even watching on channels on Sunday when the vice president of NLC, the Ayuba faction, one comrade Amechi Johnson or so, was saying that PENGANSSAN and the PENG never met. And that coming Wednesday, their members will join us and we goofed. And like I said, I sent a copy of the mail to the journalists and we also published it of our position, PENGANSSAN and the PENG. So we have met, we have looked at it. But it also means that as Labour Center, as NLC is a Labour Center, let us also meet with government and see how we can also make sure that whatever we need to do, we can also fashion it out. We have met severally before accepting this proposal. So it's not that we are just coming on board as leaders. If not, you'll have seen our members, partner vote of no confidence on us. The Joint Executive Council, National Executive Council of PENGANSSAN and the PENG met on Saturday, or Friday, 13th of May, while PENGANSSAN NEC met on Thursday, 12th of May. And Mr. Chamberlain also phoned me when I was in Calabar, and I told him that we are in Calabar, we have a joint NEC meeting and also a joint NEC, so I can also fashion out ways to also make sure that we move forward from this.
I think, let's get you correctly here. Are you saying that all the unions, the affiliates, they met on this matter of deregulation?
When the price was increased on Wednesday, I think NLC summoned a NEC meeting fixed for Friday, and also TUC as Labour Center. And we have also scheduled a meeting for Thursday to also look at it. And as affiliates, we also, for PENGANSSAN, we are also in touch with our president, Comrade Kagama, on our positions. And so, when they met on Friday, we have to also arrive in Abuja so that we can also say how we can also have a joint NEC meeting of TUC and NLC before going to the press. And they also add that for us as Labour affiliates of DEB, this is our position. So let's also see what we also said in the communique, which also I gave our president, Comrade Kagama, a copy that this is the position. But we're also saying that a meeting of stakeholders will also be called so that Nigeria can see that Labour is united. Labour is not factionalized, Labour is not divided.
So from where are we having this whole news of denial that there was ever some kind of meeting amongst the unions and affiliates?
Well, I think the main problem, which most Nigerians also know, is that for NLC, there's a division. There are two factions. And so, and this election that brought in the Comrade Ayuba was held, I think, early last year. And it's also key that whatever factions we have in whatever things, it is good and very important that Labour remain united, remain cohesive. It's when you are united and very cohesive that you can be focused. Because like the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. I mean, there's no cracks in the wall, definitely. We will not be speaking different tones. But for PENGANSSAN TUC, there is proper alignment on it. But the main problem is the NLC faction. And so, if meetings were held, you also look at it that, yes, whatever measures were taken to make sure that NLC, both factions come together, must be the larger interest of the Nigerian public.
Why?
We must set aside our own personal issues. If the elections are flawed and the other parties are there, let's see what we can also move together. Let me go down memory lane. In 1979, when there was an election to make the military leave Nigeria, there are three parties then, MPN, MPP, and UPN. And the three parties say, okay, let's have a working alliance. At the end of the day, UPN pull out. But MPP, MPN were able to have an alliance where they also share some positions so that they can also see how they can also marry their programs and work together. And just like where we are, the government we are today. There was ACN, there was CPC, there was PDP, so many factions of parties. And say, okay, let's move ahead. The most important thing, let's take the military away so that we can also enjoy democracy. And that's the position. So PENGANSSAN TUC, we don't have any position. And PENGANSSAN NUPEN, we don't have any problem. We are also be working together, and we must also continue to work together in the larger interest of our members. And I also want to say, let Nigerians know that for PENGANSSAN NUPEN membership, we are all Nigerians. We are not foreigners. And so, in any decision we're going to take, we also must look at larger interests of the society, larger interests of our members, and need the society.